welcome to this video. Today we're talking about the E minor chord. This is the first video that I've done on the mandolin on a minor chord. The first three chords that we played, G, C, and D, were all technically what we call major chords. If you ever see just a letter for the chord, like G or C or D, it's understood as major chords. Major chords, I say, sound round, complete, happy, maybe. Minor chords have a mood to them. Some might say they're a little sad. If we only played minor chords, these are two minor chords together. You might say, man, you could kind of write a sad, sappy song with those chords. But this is how to play an E minor chord. Let's start with that. You're gonna take your two first fingers, your first finger and your second finger. You're gonna go to the second string, second fret. Basically, they're both gonna press into the second fret on the middle two strings. So, it's kind of hard to play. I even have a hard time without touching the other strings around it. You notice I was getting a little sizzle and buzz off those other strings. But that's how you play it. It's gonna be a really tight little chord. Now you might say, I just can't. I got big fat fingers. People tell me that all the time. And I say, you know what? The best mandolin player I ever knew was a big guy with big old fat fingers. And he just found a way to make it work because he wanted it. And you gotta want it too. So, where there's a will, there's a way, right? So you gotta squeeze them in there into that second fret. Both are in the second fret. All right? Now, as a musician, which is what you're learning to be as a musician, someone that plays music, instrument, you wanna look for how it kind of intertwines itself with other chords. Let's look at how the E minor can go in your mind to make a simple transition to a D chord. Well, if you think about the D chord, all it is these two fingers split. One goes to the top, one goes to the bottom, and you'll notice these chords do go together. See, they're buddies, so you might spend the next week or two or three or five just transitioning between E minor to D. Then consider E minor to C. E minor to C is also, if you think through it, it's a simple transition. All you technically have to do is slide your second finger forward into the third fret and you get your C chord. See? Slide it back. Don't let your hand come up like this and then have to re-find it. See? Slide the middle finger back into the second fret. And that's the only difference between a C and an E minor chord is one note. I know we're not doing that fancy type of strum pattern yet. All right, another relationship that E minor has with other chords is, that's my dog. Shut up, doggy. I mean, please be quiet. Please be quiet. I'm trying to make a video. It's like he doesn't even care. That's Camo. His name's Camo. I'll put a picture right here. All right. Is the E minor to the G chord. We have, there's actually just one note difference between the E minor and the G chord too. But what's gonna happen is the pointing finger is gonna come down one and the middle finger is gonna slide forward. The pointing finger came down to where the second finger was. So you're actually just replacing that one. And we're adding this G note, this bright G note up here to get our G chord. So now we have 4 chords, and your job is to practice not only those 4 chords, but how they transition to each other, listening to how they sound together. And another thing is, learn to get on the rhythm train. you need to develop a good sense of motion with your chords. That's how music moves along the rhythm train. So consider this. We've got our 4 chords. You're going to practice this for weeks. E minor, C, G, and D. Let's just play those. And I'm giving you a pattern to work on. You might not be able to do this right now, but you're going to maybe write this down. E minor, C, G, D. And what you might try to get to the point where you can do is strum the E minor 8 times, 5. And while you're doing that, you're thinking about your next chord. What do we say? C, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to G. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to D. 2, 3, 4. And then when you get done with that, you're not done. You need to loop it around. E minor, starting over. 7, 8 to C. Okay? That might take you weeks to get down, and that is part of it, okay? Go on that journey. So, now we have 4 chords that go together, and they are G, C, D, and E minor. They are partner chords. With those 4 chords, we can play so many songs. In fact, if you're already like, all right, I'm pretty good at these chords already, consider some songs that you like or know that you might want to learn. Maybe some people might get into folk or like hymns, older style American music, and just observe how, oh, look at there. When you put it in the key, technically you have to be in the key of G to see these chords everywhere. So if you can change the key when you're looking these songs up, change it to G. And you'll see how G, C, D, and E minor are the bestest of friends. They are paired and partnered together. Practice those chords, put them in different orders. Maybe start with G, go to C, then go to D, then go to E minor. Next time, start with C to E minor to G to D, and flip the order around so that you can get used to transitioning them. My name is Jacob Paul with Inside Out Online. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I'm gonna see you on that next video.